Sure.
If you want to use one word, you kind of like that, and you
Yeah.
agree with it.
I do. They're a big physical group. They want to run the football. They want to establish the line of scrimmage. I think we're 1 and 2, our team and their team, in running the football, a number of attempts. So it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be nice, cold, northeastern weather. So let's put the ball down and go compete.
31 missed tackles, I think, in the Pitt and Georgia Tech games, 11 in the last 3. According to PFF, I imagine that's
Sure.
fairly accurate. What's the difference?
Obviously, credit to the players, embracing the fundamentals, the techniques, all the things that we're pouring into them, and they're going out and executing at a very high level. I think they have confidence in knowing what their assignments are. They have confidence in their teammates executing their assignments, so the fits are clean, where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to execute whatever movements or the coverage concepts, so they can just play free and go and fit to where they're supposed to fit, and ends up being really good.
When you went back and did the day one install during the first
Yep.
open day, simplified. By simplifying, I think you said the following week they'd be a little bit quicker off the snap. Is that a difference too in tackles because of where their engagement begins, where they initiate the engagement as opposed to being a split second?
A little bit. I guess on the front, up front, possibly. But I think the back end, just trusting where the front fitters are going to be, so your entry angles are even more clean, and you can just use proper angles and leverage to make the tackles. So, and they've just been stressing doing that at a high level. The way we practice versus the show teams has been really good too. Give a shout out to Major Bird, Selby, our running backs on the show team. We're physical and they're physical right back, and out of love and respect. But it's been a really good look by those guys, and our guys have embraced there's Jaden right there. Embrace the physicality of those practices each and every day, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, with Travis, what has been the key to unlocking him this season and tapping into that potential that he showed when he was in high school?
I absolutely love Travis Shaw. I think it's been no secret since the day I met him, and have gotten to grow with him, and our relationship is built. Just tremendous young man, and just his growth and maturity, and how Coach Monachino and Coach Lindsey and Cam have poured into him, and he's become ridiculously coachable, and it's just a fun development to see all the work, all the maturity show up on game days. And he was must-see TV on Saturday night. It was fun to watch, and I was very, very proud of him. His attitude, his demeanor, his focus, his work ethic, the toughness that he's shown throughout the season has been very impressive. So I'm very proud of him.
With the first game he's played this season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it just consistent with it. Like, he made some flash plays, but the consistency of his technique, the consistency of his execution was what led to a lot of them. The spin move and the tackle for loss. You can't draw that up. Only Travis can do that. But I've just been very impressed with his maturity, his leadership, because I think people recognize the growth that he's gone through, so that garners respect from everybody as well.
What do you, Geoff, we've heard about the tough love that Ted, Josh Harrison,
Sure.
those guys have given you. What have you told him privately that maybe you could share with us? Like, what are your sort of intimate conversations with Travis?
Yeah, I'll keep those between us, but we try to be transparent and real, and I just think Coach Monachino is as good as anybody out there coaching defensive line, and how he's poured into Trav and been honest with him, good, negative, whatever it is, just consistent honesty. I think that goes a long way. And then you combine that with truly caring about somebody, and truly caring about their development for their own good, not for self-serving purposes. I think that compounds the effect that then you see, on Saturdays. So just been a group effort, but at the end of the day, it is Travis Shaw that has done it. and just how he's decided to unleash this part of himself and embrace, those kind of things and get better from it. So I'm just really proud of him.
Geoff, with Boston College, of course.
Now we do have a cool secret handshake, but I'll leave that between he and I, though. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good one too.
You can't just do that. Unbelievable.
Boston College, of course, made a quarterback change. Those guys are different players, of course.
Sure.
But the offense as a whole, just kind of from a tendency standpoint,
Right.
What makes that offense different with obviously Kyle Storms and
Well, the cool thing, and so this is a little caveat. I learned offensive football from Billy O'Brien. So I was a graduate assistant at Georgia Tech, 1999, 2000, to age myself a little bit. And real quick, it's my wife's birthday tomorrow. I'm not going to age her, but happy birthday to my wife. She's young, she's beautiful, she's absolutely amazing. So happy birthday to her. But after my second year as a defensive GA, and all I'd ever coached is defense, all I'd ever played was defense. We had a tight end job open at Georgia Tech, and Billy O'Brien stood on the table for me to be the tight ends coach. I'd never played tight end, I'd never studied tight end, and Billy O'Brien and Mac McWhorter taught me offensive football. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for Billy, a tremendous amount of love for Billy. We've known each other, I guess, now for 27 years, and his career path and his arc of being a brilliant offensive mind continues to show to this day. They're very multiple personnel groups, the usage of differing running backs, the usage of the tight ends, usage of 6 to even 7 offensive linemen. So there's great multiplicity in what they do. And obviously this game is about toughness and it's going to be about physicality. But the other piece is all of our guys to aspire to play at the next level. Well, this game, you're playing against an NFL offense run by one of the brightest offensive minds in the game. The multiplicity, the physicality, the angles and leverage and the issues that they present schematically, and then you combine it with a big physical offensive line and running backs that get downhill. So that's a big challenge for us. And so the toughness piece and the showcasing your talents against an actual offense that is the style that you're going to have to play against in the next level, I think that heightens the awareness of the importance of this game.
And to even go off of that, I'm kind of curious since you brought it up and things like that, like with Bill O'Brien and kind of learning from him
Sure.
at an early age. I guess how did he help you see the game differently and just the takeaways you had kind of going throughout the rest of your career?
So as a defensive play caller, if I could go back and do it again for anybody else that wants to be in a position that I'm in, having that year of experience on offense, because you go through life thinking offense sees the game one way and you plan a certain way, but then you're on the other side as an offensive coach, an offensive play caller, whatever the case may be, it's completely different. And it changed the way I perceived the game as a defensive coach, as a defensive play caller, and it was transformative in my career. And I give credit to any success that I've had from that year of experience coaching for Billy and working in that system. And really, and I have no idea why people think coaching tight ends is an easy task. It is. I mean, you've got to be a part of the run game. You're basically an offensive lineman. You've got to be a part of the pass game. You're basically a wide receiver. Then you've got to be a part of the running back, quarterback in protections and knowing all of the intricacies. So I don't know if it was a tall task that I had to learn from Billy, but it was an invaluable one.
I was gonna ask, if you were gonna spend 1 year coaching on offense, that would be the ideal position because it's so all-encompassing.
Had to know everything. Had to know all of it. And I worked for George O'Leary, and I had, I think, 2 weeks before we started spring ball to learn all of it. I went for absolutely zero to in 2 weeks having to know all of it, and there were zero excuses with that. And
Edgy guys, too.
so I didn't see my beautiful wife. I did not see her awake for 3 years while I was working for that wonderful man. So.
Coach O'Brien, he's a former Belichick assistant of the Patriots. Do you
Yep.
see a lot of influence from, his time, because you saw him before he was
Sure.
now you're seeing him after. Do you see a lot of it?
What's interesting, and I've always said this about Billy, I mean, that at 30 years old, Billy was like that. And that's a tremendous compliment. So I just, I think the world of him, tremendous amount of respect for him, care for his wife, Colleen. And, obviously we've got a big challenge, and the personal relationship can wait until after the game.
What about changing quarterbacks? What do you see there?
Yeah, schematically, there's not a ton of difference. A little bit more 12 personnel, with the new kid, but he gets him in the right play, gets him in the right checks. Is very athletic, but as you can tell, is getting the ball to the proper looks and running the ball where it's supposed to be run, based on where the 3 technique is, where the shade is, in an odd front, whatever the case may be. He knows all of those things and is able to make it work. And he's a tremendous athlete, and does a great job distributing the ball, because they've got some really good players and some big receivers. And the tight end room arguably might be the best that we've seen. They're really good players.
Power said Saturday night, he didn't think the quarterback saw him. And he attributed some of the defensive front. How much does the front line get an assist for that interception? And maybe for you guys getting more hands on balls the last few weeks?
Yeah, so it's twofold. It's really good observation by him and by you. When we showed a lot of the sacks that we got and the pressures that we got, I made sure that the D-line, even though they're playing at a really high level, gave credit to the DBs that were doing a great job on the back end. And then conversely, with the rush and as much pressure we've been putting on people, I think we had 2 sacks, but the pressures and the hits on the quarterback, our guys were relentless. And that does have a cumulative effect over time, and maybe even leading up to the game, understanding that there's 8 big-time defensive linemen that are just going to be rolling through the game that you've got to deal with. So I think it's a compounded effort by all of them on all of those things.
It's hard-hitting journalism here. You give the candy out at practice, the cookie cakes when a guy gets a turnover. What if he takes it in the end zone? What do they get then?
It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. I think I guess there's got to be compound interest at some point added to it. I'm still a little sore from all the push-ups that I had to do during the game and then last week at practice. But I will give the guys credit. So when I think we had to do 70 on Tuesday. I think I had to do 70 or 80 on Wednesday because we were getting a ton of turnovers. Well, during practice, and Amari Campbell was one of the biggest culprits, I would do the push-ups and I'd be counting in my head, and I would get to 3, and Amari would start chiming in with 1. And then my count would get all messed up. So I do appreciate on game day the guys counted accurately, and that helped me stay in the rhythm and stay in the flow. So big shout out to the guys for taking care of me on game day.
He does that.
Oh, he does do it,
Do you
yes.
happen to know that you were on TV doing push-ups?
I did not.
Everyone has fun with that.
So somebody sent me the social media post. So, and then what Jeremy's crew's been doing the last 3 weeks in particular is making some defensive videos for us that we show on Fridays, and there should be a cookie cake arriving for his crew within the next 30 minutes too.
Has the offense caught on yet? So let's just drop the ball and watch coach.
So you
Now,
think-
DJ Mazzone, how do I say it? DJ? Sure. Every now and then he'll have to throw the last play of a rack. I'll say, DJ, throw it to whatever, just so we can end the rack positively and everybody cheers or whatever. And he'll drop a dime right to Power or right to AC or Stick or somebody. So
Geoff, when we talked to Power the other night, he said it was vision coverage that he was in on the pick 6.
Yep.
Did he play that perfectly in terms of what you want?
Yep. So in that schematic, he was supposed to tease the center to get the 4 one-on-one blocks in the game or whatever, and then he had the back. What Wake was doing most of their third downs, they were keeping the back in. So even though he had the back, he didn't really have to go get him. He could just spy the quarterback, and he did it masterfully. Did a really good job.
Has Amari taken Green Dot, free Power up, you think, a little bit to sort of get the voices out of his head?
I think so, and I try to be very minimal when I am on the headset. I try to say it 3 times and then cut it off. I do think Amari at times, just to take you a little deeper into mine and Amari's relationship, sometimes I think he conveniently leaves out certain things that he doesn't think we should be doing and just lets, whatever, and acts like he can't hear me. But he's awesome. And there was even some talk during the bye week is, since Power's the one that stays in our dime package, should he have the green dot since he's going to be down there every play? But then Amari was adamant that he wanted to make sure he kept the green dot. And players over plays is what we say around here. So if the player wants it, the player's going to get it, and he's done a tremendous job.
So in the dime, you don't have a green dot on?
We do not have a green dot. And then it relies on wristbands, it relies on the boards, it relies on the multiple signalers, all those kind of things. So, and I think Power even conveniently forgets to add certain little twists or stunts or whatever at times too. So,
So
How many
Amari,
times has that happened this year?
huh?
How many times has that happened this year?
No, not very much. Not very much. I was just being funny.
burgeoning confidence that he knows
Oh,
everything.
Ridiculously brilliant, those two. They know the scheme. They know all the fits. It's really, the thing that I've been very pleased with is the level of football that these guys know and can digest. And that's obviously a credit to Coach Chizik and all the other coaches that have come through here. The guys know football and they understand the fits, the concepts, all of those things. So we're ahead of the curve when we're putting in new things or, going through day one install, whatever. It's really cool.
Is Power all,
This will be it.
is Power all business all the time? He seems so serious with us a lot of the time.
Right.
Like, are you guys like that? Like, is it just straight ball all the time?
He's very focused. He's very serious. He does have a lighthearted side. The text messages that he and I are having right now, actually, he does funny emojis back to me. I think those are sarcastic emojis because I like to use emojis when I'm texting with him. So I don't think he really likes to use them, but I think he uses them sarcastically with me. But he's a tremendous leader, great dude in the locker room, highly respected, as you guys all know. But he does have, we'll do our Friday dance party at the end of the walkthrough, and Power will get in the middle and dance a little bit, so and I think that goes to his leadership style too. Do I think he would be the first one on the dance floor? I don't know that. I don't think that. But in that situation, we want to bond. We want to dance a little bit. Well, Power's the leader of the group. He jumps in there and does it, so it's okay for everybody else to do, if that makes sense. And I think that is a admirable leadership quality that he has. And he's just one of the best dudes that I've ever been blessed to coach. And I'm just proud that he's one of us.
All righty.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.